Welcome to Kevin Dale Photography, where I take you on my journey through photography. On today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the Manbily MPK323 Monopod. I hope you're enjoying this episode, and if you like my style, I highly encourage you to check out my F11 Photography Podcast. It's a weekly podcast where we discuss all in-depth things photography related. I'll leave a link in the description below where you can check us out on both Apple and Spotify, but now back to today's episode. Welcome to today's episode. If you're not familiar with Kevin Dale Photography, we do gear reviews, tips, techniques, and tutorials, and sometimes we dive into film. If any of that sounds appealing to you, click the subscribe button below. So Manbily reached out to me and they asked me if I would do a review of the MPK323 Monopod. And as somebody who needs a monopod and as somebody who finds himself using his longer lenses more often in camera reviews, I took them up on their offer. So this is the Manbily MPK323. It's a monopod. It's 8 layers of carbon fiber. You have your little mount up here with your quick release. It's pretty straightforward, and it's a hybrid. So yes, it's a monopod because you're probably looking at this and saying, wait, there's 3 legs. That's not a monopod, that's a tripod. And you're right, it's both. So it has the ability to remove this bottom part. The upper part telescopes very high, so it's on the ground right now and it's taller than me. Basically, when you have the legs down, it's gonna be right around 6 feet tall. So we'll take a look at that in our field test today. I'll go shoot some birds at a lake near my house. But my general impressions of it is that it's very well constructed, it's very light. I have a monopod and a tripod from another manufacturer. They're not carbon fiber and they definitely don't feel this light. And frankly, they're falling apart, which is another reason why I said yes to taking this on for review. And so I'll give you my honest opinions on this today. Like all my reviews on this channel, I'm gonna be completely transparent, completely independent. I'm gonna tell you what I like, and I'm gonna tell you what I didn't like about this, because if I'm not honest, why would you come to this channel? One thing that I'm immediately noticing is I can take any camera I have with a small rig mount and get it in there and close it, so I don't have to use the quick release that comes with the unit. And now look, I've got my Canon R7 on here and now I'm shooting vertically on a tripod. So how cool is that? And what it was mainly designed to do is you can of course take your mount, screw it on to a longer lens, and voila, I have my monopod for bird photography. I'm ready to rock. It's in there tight. So this looks really cool. Let's go test it out in the field and see how well it does. So what do you get when you buy this Manbily monopod? You get a bag, and here is the monopod. You can see it's that 8-layer carbon fiber. It has those stepped legs. Now you may notice that the legs on this are low. Normally with a tripod, the legs would be up a little higher, and the reason why is because this is primarily a monopod. It stays lower to the ground, but it's kind of cool because if you decide that you need to leave your camera for a second, it's sturdy enough to where you can just walk away, whereas with a monopod, you have to put your camera down. So it's also telescoping. If you put this as high as it can get about 6 feet tall. So I would never have my camera this tall, honestly. I'm not that tall. I'm right at 5'11", 6 feet tall, and my camera would be way up here. So I would never use it in such a way. You can also make it truly a monopod by removing these 3 feet, and then you can attach accessories to the bottom. And I'm just gonna put the spike on the end of this. You see right there. And now I have a true monopod at this point. And I can get this a little higher because I no longer have those feet. And so now have something more like this. I have a Canon EOS R7, And oh man, egret, hold on. Let me get in a little tighter. See how big of a difference this makes. This is a 600 millimeter. 600 millimeter lens. And I'm trying to shoot it at f11 at 1/100th of a second. It's not something you typically would do. So my general impressions using this is that it's very well built. I would say that if you're trying to use a very expensive lens on here, you know, like one of those $5,000, $10,000 type of lenses, you're probably gonna wanna get something a little more sturdy than this. But with this Canon RF 600 millimeter on top of my R7, it seems to work just fine as a monopod. I think it would work great for sports and wildlife. It's working great for wildlife. For me right now, it's sturdy right here. If I had the 3 feet on here, I could walk away from my camera for a few seconds. That's really what that's there for, just to give you a little bit of relief. I'm gonna shoot this egret that's over here and just see how stable of a shot it'll give me. So he's just chilling. I'd love to see him fly. That would be great. But I've been getting some egrets that are just sitting and taking in the afternoon. It's kind of cool here today. Oh, here he comes. All right, there we go. Let me see if I can get him mid-flight. Here we go. I don't have burst mode on, so I want to be fast. Where is he? Good Lord, there he is. Land. Oh, I missed him in flight, but I can get a really good shot of him through here. Hold on. See what we get. Oh man, that is spot on. I actually have to get back. The 600 mil is a little too long. There we go. So, yeah, I missed him flying. I didn't have it in burst mode and I didn't react fast enough. But I'm gonna shoot him through these trees real quick. There we go. Egrets are very active today. Very nice. This monopod is legit. It absolutely improved my shots of these birds that are just chilling out over here. I got a nice, stable, steady shot of the bird landing. And so I'm super excited about this product, and I gotta give it 2 enthusiastic thumbs up. So good job, Manbily. So there are 3 major parts. You have your tripod legs, you have your ball mount, and then you have the shaft, the middle part. You can detach the shaft and put it away, and if you want to, you can use this included accessory and just screw it in, and then you can actually put the ball mount on top, and then you have yourself a mini tripod. So if you just want to capture sunset real quick, this will get the job done. Now do keep in mind, it doesn't go any lower than this, so if you're wanting a standard size tripod with long legs, this doesn't have long legs, but that's not really the design of it. It's more designed to be a monopod with legs that can help you out when you need it to. And then of course you just take this accessory off and put it away, and then you can take this ball mount head and put it back onto the shaft when you need to, and you're good to go. If you want to reattach the legs, you can take this little spike mount off and simply take this threading that you see right here and put it inside the legs. So it's pretty easy to get around this tripod. Some tripods are kind of a pain to put together. I don't think this one's a pain at all. It's pretty simple, to be honest. And I do like the fact that I can take these legs and flatten them out if I need to. If I need a nice wide base to keep this thing steady. So if you put it on the ground, it's not gonna tip very easily because there's too much area out here giving you stability, and that's a good thing. So anyway, now that we've had a chance to use this Manbily tripod out in the field, let's go back to my studio and I'll tell you what I liked about it and what I didn't like about it. So now that I've had some time with the MPK323, what are my thoughts? Well, let's talk about the pros of this unit. It's only 2.6 pounds, but it can hold up to 44 pounds. Now, I never trust the maximum weight on a tripod or a monopod. Of course, why would you ever put 44 pounds on this anyway? Chances are your lens is a couple pounds, and even if you had a heavier lens, it might only be 5, maybe 6 pounds. With that being said, I recommend this for lighter to moderately heavy telephoto lenses. If you have one of those gigantic bazookas that you have to carry in a separate case,
case. While the specs say that this monopod is enough, I personally might think about getting something a little bit more robust. I do like the articulation. I find it very easy to get around, to tighten things, to loosen things. I can't tell you how big of a pet peeve of mine it is when I get a tripod or a monopod and I try to adjust things and they just don't feel right. They don't tighten down enough. I didn't really have any problems with sag. Of course, I've only had the monopod for a short period of time, but I didn't really see that being an issue. I like the fact that you can detach the bottom and make it a small tripod if you need something in a pinch. And I like the fact that the bag that it comes with, it's actually very well built. I find that manufacturers, when they give you a free bag, it's an afterthought. And after a year, that bag starts falling apart. They actually give you an internal pocket to store all your accessories. And that's good because maybe you are carrying it with the 3 legs and you want to store that little spike at the bottom somewhere. Maybe you want to store the extra plate somewhere. You can put that in here and then you're good to go. So got to give Manbily props for that. And then I think the price on it is reasonable. I'm going to put that under the pros. It goes for a street price of $139.98, but as I see right now, it's $111.18 on Amazon with a 10% code. So you can basically get it for $100. $100 for a 8-layer carbon fiber monopod that can carry up to, they say 44 pounds, but let's just divide that by 2, something that's about 20 pounds. I think that's a good value. And I think that if you're an up-and-coming photographer and you're looking for something to hold you over until you get into that next tier where you have the more expensive lenses and you need the very, very expensive monopod, I think this will hold you over for that time. So let's talk about the cons, and there were a few. Now, I will say that some of this is a stretch. So I tried to use this guy as a tripod for a static video shot like you see right now, and I tried it outdoors and the wind was just blowing the lens around too much. I had no stability in my shots, and I even had to turn the image stabilization on my lens. I did set up the MPK323 for a static shot indoors with no wind, of course, and it did do a good job. You can use it in a pinch as a tripod, although I'd still use a dedicated tripod for serious video work. Another con is that on the bottom of this threading where you would typically put that spike, there was no place to put a hook where you could maybe hang a sandbag or backpack or something like that to just weight it down a little bit more, just in case you're in high winds. Because let's be honest, a lot of bird photographers are out there on a lake where there's typically a lot of wind. And so just another accessory to maybe help you get further stability if you elect to use those 3 legs would have been much appreciated. And I would hope to see that in future versions of this monopod. I also found that the threading between the shaft and the 3 legs, it could have been machined a little bit better. I had a little bit of an issue trying to get it to seat in. Once I seated it in, it was fine, but it did take me a few tries. Of course, if you just live with it having the 3 legs on, or you just live with it having the spike on, none of that is going to be an issue. But if you find yourself having to take the 3 legs off and going back to the spike, and then taking the spike off and going back to the 3 legs, it could be kind of a pain if those threads don't hook up very easily on the first try. But other than that, there's really not a lot. Just don't keep things that are too top heavy on there for too long in high winds. And then just keep in mind there's that thing with the threading. But in all honesty, it's a really good value. The fact that you can basically get it for about $100 right now on Amazon, I think makes this a good buy for the right photographer. That does it for today's episode. I thank each and every one of you for watching today. I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to purchase one of these. If you like this channel, I humbly ask you to click the subscribe button below. And if you like the discussions that I have on this channel and you want to hear my more uncensored opinions on photography related subjects, I highly recommend you go check out the F11 Photography Podcast, which can be found on all major platforms, including Apple and Spotify. And until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.